Welcome to lesson number 94. This is a beauty. This is a lesson that gets repeated occasionally throughout, and it just brings a smile to my face every time I see it. It says, I am as God created me. It's so simple and so true and so poignant. It says, today we continue with the one idea which brings complete salvation. The one statement which makes all forms of temptation powerless. The one thought which renders the ego silent and entirely undone. You are as God created you. The sounds of this world are still, the sights of the world disappear, and all the thoughts that this world ever held are wiped away forever by this one idea. Here is salvation accomplished. Here is sanity restored. Let's close your eyes and sit with this idea. See if you can keep bringing your mind to the idea. I am as God created me. So let's bring that idea into another shape, lying on your belly. We'll clear the mat off. Lie on your belly, turn your head to the right. Have your hands back by your sides, and we'll just let gravity come down through. Now, you've heard me talk if it's too about the neck. If it's too strong on the neck, then one thing you can do is not relax entirely. Sometimes a little activity, holding the head and neck in a certain way is enough. We can support the shoulder with a pillow or a sandbag or something to take the pressure off the neck. You may have your right hand up by your face. That's okay too. I am as God created me. Now, you know the ego turns this idea around and then assumes that God looks like man, and then it makes God separate and judgmental and discriminating and maybe even vicious. So we let go of all that. If God is changeless, formless, perfect, and eternal, then so am I. It must be a reality beyond the body. In other parts of the book, the Course puts it like this: I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Lift your head and slowly turn through. Feel the compression in the back of the neck. You can even jut the chin out a little bit, go super slow, move according to all the feedback. No agenda. Don't try to accomplish. Don't try to fix. Just go slow. And don't avoid. And finally, you let your head down, right cheek on the floor. Sometimes one side needs supported more or less than the other. You respect all that. So the next line is a nod to the previous lesson. True light is strength, and strength is sinlessness. If you remain as God created you, you must be strong, and light must be in you. He who ensured your sinlessness must be the guarantee of strength and light as well. You are as God created you. Darkness cannot obscure the glory of God's Son. You stand in light, strong in the sinlessness in which you were created, and in which you will remain throughout eternity. This is one of these lessons that really encourage us to look at the truth of who we are. There's nothing in this lesson that talks about the darkness or the ego. It's asking us to go for it. Remember who you are. The Course says the proper use of memory is the remembrance of God. We just forgot. I am as God created me. I am His Son eternally. Healed and whole. Now bring your head back to the center, and you're going to bring your hands under your shoulders for support. More specifically, watch Lisa here if you need to. You're just going to put your hands out in front a little. I'd like you to see if you can support with your forearms. So walk your hands out some. Yeah. Now, you can have your elbows out wide. You can have them back a little bit. You can have them forward a little bit. The most impact it's going to have on your spine is to have your elbows directly underneath your shoulders so that the upper arms are perpendicular to the floor. You can test that a little bit, but if it's too demanding, especially on the low back, then walk the elbows out, walk them back, walk them forward. Take some of the pressure off, let your spine come down. And now we want to find a place here where your forearms and your arms become this fairly passive support for your spine to just drape and drop like a hammock. From the hip girdle to the shoulder girdle, you let your spine relax and drop. And the head and neck relax. Your eyes can be closed. If there's anything that's too strong about it, come on up to all fours. We'll just let some extension come into the whole spine here a moment. And with your eyes closed, feel the shape, observe it. Observe the sensation. Neither shape nor sensation is who you are, nor is it what you are. Neither is eternal. They're certainly not perfect, and they're constantly changing. See, all characteristics that have nothing to do with our shared reality as one in heaven, perfect as God created us. Let your belly relax, let your spine relax. Now slowly push yourself up to all fours. Have your knees wide, mat width apart. Have your two big toes in, almost touching. Good. And let the neck and head relax. And now you're going to keep your hands out in front and slowly sink back into the space between your heels. So your belly drops down, the armpit region and rib cage open up. The fingers can spread a little bit, shoulder width or so apart. The head can rest. Sometimes the forehead will rest into the floor. And there's just enough effort to keep the arms fairly straight. Not much effort at all. Now, if there's a knee issue, if there's a strong knee issue or an ankle issue, your shape is not going to look like this. You may be closer to being up on all fours and just inching back, bringing just the proper healing sensation into one or both knees. Be with it. Judge it not. I am as God created me. Okay, well, it sure seems like I have a sensation or an ache or a pain. It sure seems like I have problems in form as a body. Sure seems that way. We won't deny any of it. But we'll begin to play with the idea of denying the thought system that made it up. It's an invitation to the miracle that brings helpful change and guidance into the dream and into our lives. Like changing the channel. And we know we only have two channels, one that's healing and one that's not. Now see if you can slowly come on up to a kneeling shape, upright kneeling shape, sitting into that space. Now here you could pull the bolster in and support. Yeah, this is one of Lisa's favorite shapes, so it's one that's very doable for her. Your shape may not look like hers, so it's okay to support. It's okay to support with your hands. Heck, you can even opt to sit in a chair for a bit. Now, see if you can relax your shoulders, and however you are, relax into the space. Try to reach the Son of God in you. This is the self that never sinned, nor made an image to replace its reality. See, it never made a projection. It never made anything up. It never had to lie. It never had to conceal. There's no idea of sin. This is who you really are. Now Now try to reach that place. It says, this is the self that never left its home in God to walk the world uncertainly. This is the self that knows no fear, nor could conceive of loss or suffering or death. Imagine walking through life with the vision and the guidance that comes from this self, from this place. We're just changing the channel. It's been so hidden, we don't know it's there. I am as God created me. I am an extension of God, His Son, eternally. This is the self that knows no fear, nor could conceive of loss or suffering or death. If I can walk through life with no conception of the idea of loss, there won't be any. Gently, gently release the shape and lean against the wall. Take your time stretching your legs out. Yeah, and you can go ahead and stretch them out. That's it. And nice and easy, comfortably seated. I'll finish up a couple paragraphs here. Nothing is required of you to reach this goal except to lay all idols and self-images aside. Go past the list of attributes, both good and bad, you have ascribed to yourself, and wait in silent expectancy for the truth. Expect miracles. Expect the truth. Once we lay the false idols aside, they'll come naturally. God has Himself promised that it will be revealed to all who ask for it. You are asking now. You cannot fail because He cannot fail. Now, sitting comfortably, however you like. The Spirit is asking us to remember this idea throughout the day. Certainly, at any point where there's a grievance or some sort of seeming obstacle, I am as God created me. Remember the lesson where we are encouraged to have the idea running in our mind, no matter what the situation. You could be having a conversation with someone, you could be performing a task, and the idea is just running and feeding in the back of your mind constantly. I am as God created me. Make every effort to do the hourly exercises today. Each one you do will be a giant stride toward your release and a milestone in learning the thought system which this course sets forth. And as an outer expression of that inner commitment, bring your hands to your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.